guys, it's Jessie. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. Being in my little reading slump and just situation, and across the year so far I've started this many books and not finished them. So today's mission is to knock off everything that's on my currently reading TBR because it's getting annoying and I don't like having it all there. So how many books do we have? Oh gosh, oh no. We have 11 physical books here. A couple of these are for specific videos that I have been working on. I will still try and get to them in this video, but obviously like I won't be talking about my opinions on them or anything. You'll just hear me go, and I read this one too, or I'm off to read this one. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, these three here are for the same video, and the top two I have been reading since December. It's actually so bad. This one is for a video that's not going well, and these two, and then the ones that I definitely will talk about are these ones. So we've also got these ones to try and read. So if you can tell, I'm a little bit all over the place right now, but like some of these I'm like a little bit into, like 20 pages, you know. This one's about 50 pages. This one I'm like nearly finished with. These two I've barely started. This one I'm literally 10 pages into, and then these two I'm pretty much halfway through. So like there is a very big mixture here of how far I am through the book. So yeah, I just wanted to do a little intro to share with you what we're doing today. We're trying to finish these all. I think the first one I'll probably get done is The Museum of Ordinary People by Mike Gale, because I'm literally like 100 pages from the end, but I'm not loving it. I think it might be a 2-star. At this point I'll talk to you when I finish it. I'm listening to the audiobook. I feel like this has been a really weird introduction to this video, but I am going to try and do my best and read a lot, get out of my little slump, and kind of unstress myself with having so many books that I am currently in the middle of. I don't like it. So I'm going to try and finish this one off today. Wish me luck. Hello. So we have a little update. I think you're at a slight angle, but like you're on top of a flat surface. So like I don't know how that's happened, but I have finished our first book. I finished The Museum of Ordinary People. I didn't have much left in here anyway, so it wasn't difficult. I gave it a 1 star because I hated it. I don't really know what to say. This is not how I want to start off this video. The thing is, I also didn't love his other book. His other book, I think I gave it 3, maybe a 2.5, All the Lonely People. And it seems like something I would really enjoy. It seems kind of like Frederick Buckman style, like really like heartfelt, sentimental, kind of like emphasis on humanity, people caring about each other, that type of thing. But it just wasn't. Like it really wasn't, and it also just felt a little bit contrived, and I don't know how to explain it because the book that I'm currently reading, the next one that I pick up after this, so I'll talk about that in a second, and not a lot happens. It seems to be a bit of a character study type of vibe, but I'm really enjoying that writing, so I can't actually pinpoint what it is about the writing that I'm not gelling with, because it was the same in the other one. This one I had a lot of plot issues as well. Besides that, it was just like putting me off a little bit. I genuinely can't put it into words because there's nothing that I can pinpoint. I just really didn't like it. For this one especially, all of the plot points felt so contrived and predictable. It was like the most generic relationship and family drama ever, and it was almost like they was trying to put plot twists in here, but personally I didn't care about the characters, and secondly I could see it coming from a mile away. And also I thought this was going to be her meeting a bunch of different people and all having different objects to do with the museum, and maybe that like she would, you know, bring them some closure and they would learn from each other and things like that. The museum storyline is wrapped up by like 30%, and we are not there for the rest of the book until like the final 2 chapters. So I feel like this was really mismarketed. But yeah, I didn't like either of the characters, the main characters. It just felt really, yeah, contrived and forced, and I didn't enjoy it at all. It was getting to the point with the audiobook that I was just finishing it because I had such a little part left, and I don't know why I kind of kept going with it, to be honest. Like when I'm rolling my eyes at an audiobook and I'm like, oh for God's sake, it's very much indicative that I'm not enjoying it, and unfortunately I did not enjoy this one at all. So yeah, I can like 100% understand why people would enjoy these books, but this one and the other one by him are just not for me, unfortunately. So this will be on hold. So the thing is, it's not like quite bad enough to be on the worst books of the year list, but I don't give many books 1 star, so like conflicting. But yeah, that was a flop. But next up, I've actually picked up Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. This is for another video and I'm partway through it, so I won't be talking about it here, but it's another one to tick off my currently reading list, which is exciting. I've picked up this one by audiobook. I listened to the other one a bit by audiobook too. I'd love to read a little bit more physically if I can get around to it. I will catch up with you when I'm done with that one, and I'll pick up something that I can actually talk about. Hello, apologies if you can hear a whirring fan in the background. I turned off my main fan. It's a teeny tiny little portable fan, just so I don't start sweating like 5 seconds into this clip, because it is so hot in England at the moment. But I know I said that I was going to read Little Fires Everywhere and then get back to you, which I am doing. I'm in the process of doing. Like, chill out please. I'm in the middle of it. I'm about halfway through now, enjoying it. But I wanted to bring you here today to let you know Okay, that was meant to be a little bit, but it's stuck. Okay, it's done. It's done. I can't do it anymore. It's a DNF for me. I know that's terrible because this is like the best book ever. I'm pretty sure it was like the New York Times Reader's Best Book of the 21st century. It was the Women's Best Book of last year. It's just not for me, unfortunately. I can understand people love it. It's the Pulitzer Prize winner. Like, it's not for me. I was bored out of my mind. And yeah, it's just not for me. I just think maybe just because a book is depressing and long doesn't mean that it's good. And I got halfway through. I got like 300 and something pages in, and I'm happy to leave that story there. You know, I've read about his childhood and now he's just like doing football. Do you know what I mean? So like, I'm fine to leave that story there. I've looked up spoilers online, and I think the second half becomes absolutely harrowing and depressing, and just a series of like really bad things happening to all of the characters. So I just don't feel the need to really read it, to be honest. I'm happy to leave it where it is, and it's just not for me. I'm not a literary fiction girl, at least not like a mainstream literary fiction girl, and it's just not for me, and that's okay. Do you know what I mean? It's fine. I didn't love it, I didn't enjoy the writing very much, and I found it boring, and that's fine. You know, that's fine. No hate, no hate. But it's a DNF for me, unfortunately. So that is another book off of my TBR, and I'm very much pleased to be done with it. And yeah, I just think when I'm struggling to pick up an audiobook, that's when I feel like it's time to call it quits with the book, because like usually there shouldn't be any like barriers to me picking up an audiobook. Like, I have a good time with it. I can play my fun little Switch games, like I could do my puzzle, like anything. And I just really didn't want to do that. So yeah, unfortunately this is going to the charity shop, but I'm sure it will be picked up very quickly because it's super popular. My dad loved it. I actually got him this copy for his birthday, but yeah, not for me, unfortunately. And I will stick to my romance and my thrillers, but I also will stick to my non-fiction because I have now started Prisoners of Geography as well, which is fun. I'm enjoying that one much more, and everything else that I've read I'm enjoying much more. I will see you in a little bit, and I'm very glad to have got that off my chest and be relieved of the burden of Demon Copperhead. I'm sorry. Hello, I have a ton of updates since we last spoke. I actually don't remember when we last spoke. I haven't updated you in a little while, and we'll get onto that in a second, but sorry, I'm trying to untangle my necklace. But we have some really good progress. So like I mentioned, I did finish Little Fires Everywhere. I was listening to this via audiobook. I won't talk about it too much, but I listened to this via audio as I did a puzzle. I have been addicted. Now I've become addicted to doing puzzles whilst listening to audiobooks. I started another puzzle, which is like an old Christmas puzzle we had upstairs. We used to do them like every year, but haven't done it recently. But yeah, I finished this puzzle and was like, I immediately need to start another one, and because the shops had shut, I had to start a Christmas one. So now I'm doing Christmas puzzles. I finished the second one as well, so like we're on our third puzzle of the week. I'm having a fun time with it. Anyway, I really enjoyed this and I gave it a 4.25, but like I said, that will feature more in another video. Then as well, I also finished up Prisoners of Geography. I was pretty close to finishing anyway. I think I might have updated you when I was like halfway through, I can't remember, or maybe when I was starting actually. I've been absolutely abysmal at updating this video. I'm very sorry, but I did enjoy this. I gave it a 3.5. I think had I read this before I started my degree and nearer when it was published, it would have been a lot more useful to me. This was published in like 2016, so like a lot of the stuff is out of date because it is geopolitics, or at least just like not as up to date as, you know, a book that came out recently would be. And I feel like it gave a really good overview of kind of like modern conflict and stuff like that, but just I obviously have now done 2 years of a degree in pretty much this topic, so it wasn't super useful to me, but like it wasn't egregious or like difficult to get through or anything like that. It was pretty quick, and so yeah, no complaints there really. It was just a 3.5. And then okay, I meant to update you halfway through with this one, but I was like having the best time with my audiobook and my puzzle. Like I was literally sitting there for hours on end, not looking up and just doing my puzzle and listening to this audiobook, and I finished My Dark Vanessa. I'm very sorry. I really wanted to give an update halfway through for this. I did write down my thoughts halfway through, so I'm just gonna like put a bookmark in and we're gonna pretend and we're all gonna believe for a second that I'm giving a halfway update. So I basically said at halfway through that I was really enjoying it and I was finding it well paced so far, and I was just looking forward to and kind of a little bit nervous as well about where it was going to go from this point, because where I thought the end of the story potentially would be, at least in one of the timelines, we'd reached that point halfway through, so I didn't really know where the book was going to go, and I was worried that the pace was going to fall off because I really enjoyed the pacing up until this point. And I was basically saying I don't know what's going to happen and it could really go either way. At this point it was sitting at about maybe like a 4.5, and I feel like I could very easily kind of like lose a bit of momentum with it, or it could really exceed. And now I can tell you, because wow, I've just magically finished the book, I adored this so much. I don't know what it is. I was really enjoying it in the first half, but something about the second half, I was just gripped. I was sucked in. I loved it. Obviously, loved is a bit of a difficult term to use for this one, just because it is basically about a girl who starts dating slash being groomed by her English teacher when she's 15, and it follows two timelines, her at that point and then her in the present day, where he's being accused of sexual assault by other students, and she is under the impression that they're in love. It was an amazing relationship and she wasn't abused, so it's a little bit difficult for her to come to terms with, and that's kind of what we're going through, how she's kind of handling these situations. So it was an absolutely excellently like well done book. I thought the writing was incredible. I thought the mindset of the 15-year-old as well, I feel like was really realistic, and also it was really interesting to see the way that she perceived things and the way that I, reading it, perceived things. Like obviously I would perceive his actions and like little things he was doing as like extremely manipulative, but she obviously didn't perceive it that way at the time because she was obviously 15. But yeah, this has some really important conversations, and I honestly thought this was absolutely excellent. It says in the back here, consumes your waking hours, unmoors you from your lived reality, grips the very core of you and doesn't let go. And I can't lie, that's exactly how I felt. I can't stop thinking about this book because it was absolutely amazing. I listened to a lot of it on audio, and the narrator was really excellent. She kind of changed her voice for the 15-year-old Vanessa, and I thought it was really impactful. And yeah, I just couldn't stop reading it. I couldn't stop thinking about it. So yeah, this was a 5-star. I thought this was really excellent, and Vanessa's such a complex main character. It's really interesting to be in her perspective, and I just thought this was absolutely excellently done. Definitely, like, it doesn't shy away from details and stuff like that, so like it's quite vivid, and certain descriptions are obviously very hard to read, but I would say be careful going into it. But if you do think you're in a place where you can read that type of thing, I would really recommend it, because I thought it was absolutely excellent. So those are my little updates. I don't know what I'm going to pick up next, but hopefully I'll actually be able to update you halfway through and not be like the most terrible vlogger ever. But yeah, I will chat to you in a little bit. Hey guys, I have a little bit of an update for you. Ignore my unmade bed and ignore my voice if I sound ill. It's because I am. But I believe last time I spoke to you, I had just finished My Dark Vanessa, I think. Maybe, who knows, I can't remember. But I have also now finished Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke and Other Misfortunes by Eric LaRocca. So I was already halfway through this, and there was only 2 short stories left for me to read, so I didn't feel the need to do like another update partway through. So I did just finish this one off. I'd already read the first kind of titular short story and I thought it was okay, and then the other 2 I actually enjoyed a lot more. There was one longer one and one shorter one. I ended up giving this a 3.5 overall. I think that's kind of like evening out what my feelings would be about this. My only issue, I think, with Eric LaRocca that I've had so far is that I really enjoy his stories, and I feel like they build a lot of really good tension, but then I often feel a little bit let down and disappointed by the endings for some reason, and I felt the same with these ones. I felt like they lead up to a crazy ending and then we don't really get one, and the ending of the second one I really didn't enjoy too much. I thought that was a bit cringy. So overall, this one was good. It wasn't like taking my breath away, but it was a fun time and I enjoyed it, and I'm glad to have finished it. And then also I'm so pleased about this one because I halfway through The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins, and I can't lie, I was expecting to not really enjoy this one, to say, oh, I'm actually going to finish this later, I'm not going to include it in this video, or like DNF it because I wasn't enjoying it. But I've been listening to this as an audiobook while I do my puzzle, and I've been having such a fun time. I'm really sucked into the story, and I believe this is like the first mystery kind of that genre, and yeah, I mean, it's even quite comedic at points. I'm really enjoying it a lot more than I expected, so I have some very positive feelings on that. I will probably speak a little bit more when I'm feeling less ill, but for now I'm going to continue listening to the audiobook and doing my puzzle, and hopefully I will get better soon. Hello, I have a few updates to share. I have 2 good, 2 bad, so bear with, and I'm going to sandwich the good either side of the bad updates. So we'll start off with the good update, and I finished Woman in White. Honestly, like, who am I to have finished this? That's crazy. So I decided to give this a 3.75 rounded up to a 4 on Goodreads. I don't know if I gave a synopsis, but in this we're basically following Walter Cartwright, Walter Hartwright, and he is like an art teacher, and he goes to this like rich family's house to teach the daughter, who's like in her 20s, how to do art. She is engaged to a different man, and on his way there he meets a woman all dressed in white, like in the middle of the night, and he like kind of helps her, and she's escaped from an asylum. She seems very distressed. Like he helps her on time away, and then I believe the student of his drawing receives a letter about the man she's engaged to, and it's believed to be from this woman in white, and it's kind of a mystery, like who is she, what's the secret that's like alluded to in this letter, etc, etc, and it goes on from there. I don't want to give too much away. I don't think that gives too much away, but it's a very long book, and I read the first part of this a long time ago, so I hope that was sufficient as a little introduction. This is basically touted as the first mystery novel, which is really, really interesting. It was first written in like 1860, so very much a full classic, and I enjoyed this one. I decided to give it a 3.75 just because I found it very long and very winding towards the end. There was a section in the middle which was from Miss Halcombe's point of view, and I enjoyed that one the most. I actually found it quite humorous and quite enjoyable and very readable. The whole book was very, very readable. I definitely think having an audiobook, I listened to this specific audio version, which I really, really enjoyed. We had different narrators for the different characters. We get a multitude of perspectives in here, and yeah, I thought it was a really, really good classic. I mean, the mystery wasn't like overly exciting, overly gripping, anything like that, but like it was a easy to follow classic story, and I enjoy reading books like that and like kind of getting out my comfort zone a bit. So for a classic, it was pretty readable, pretty approachable, and I did enjoy it. So that is another book of my currently reading, one that I didn't necessarily think would come off, so I'm very pleased about that. And now we have a double bad update. So firstly, about Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. So I was initially reading this for a video, and I've actually changed around that video slightly, so I won't be reading this for that video anymore, and I don't have any direct plans to read this. And also I got 42 pages in when I first read it, but that was in December, and I can't really remember any of that. So when I pick up again, I will need to reread that, and because I don't have any immediate plans to read this, I am going to take it out of like my currently reading, just start it completely from scratch when I do eventually get around to it. This is being taken off the currently reading pile. I wouldn't even consider this a DNF, soft DNF, anything like that. It's just one that I'm going to read at a later date, and I'm going to start back from the beginning, so it doesn't even count as currently reading anymore. And then a less positive update. I did get 100 pages. I'm on page 103 of Book of Lies by Terry, and I just don't care, so I am going to DNF this, unfortunately. I was on page 50 originally, and you can see I read a little bit more, and this isn't like a short book. It's like 400 and something pages, and to be honest, I just do not care. We're following like two twins that have just like met each other for the first time, and one of them was like kept away by their grandma, and the other one was like not, and it's like about lies and like the darkness and stuff like that, but like I really don't care, and we're like already 100 pages in, and it's just like I'm just not fussed. It's kind of just a YA that I'm really not interested in, and I think the book that I thought this was Mind Games by the same author, I believe, if I'm looking at like the list of previously published books. And I also loved the Slated trilogy. I didn't read this when I was younger, so it's got no nostalgia for me. So yeah, this is a DNF, unfortunately, but that's also coming off the currently reading pile. I will be reading the Slated series at some point though, because I absolutely love that, and I still have all my copies of that. And then on a more positive note, I have made progress in Practice Makes Perfect. So I'm now about 250 pages in, and it's only about 300 pages, 330 pages altogether, so I should finish this tonight, which is super duper exciting. I wasn't particularly enjoying this quite as much as When in Rome, because When in Rome was a 5-star for me, which was so unexpected. I was just finding it a little bit more contrived, a little bit more cringy in a way that I hadn't necessarily with When in Rome, and I do understand why people do, but I just didn't. But what I found with this one actually is that when I actually sit down and read it in big chunks, I get really sucked in, and then I don't find anything cringy at all. I'm really liking the romance. So I think my issue with it was that I was just picking it up and putting it back down and not kind of getting into the story enough. But now I am very much into the story, and I really love them together. I think they're so cute. We're basically following Annie and Will, and Will is like a bodyguard, and Annie's like known as a goody two shoes, but she doesn't want to be like that, and he's like teaching her how to date and stuff like that, and they both clearly like each other. But yeah, we're just following them, and it's really cute, and I love this small town and everything about it, so I'm very excited to finish this one off. And I will say, when I do finish that one off, I do think that'll be the close of this video. I have been filming this video for so long, and I'm kind of ready to move on to other things. The only two books we have left from the start of the video, my currently reading, are Red Rising, which I do have plans to read this month for a specific video, and Chasing the Boogeyman, which is on my TBR for a readathon that I'm doing this month. So hopefully both of these should be read this month anyway, but I just really want to move on to other videos, to be honest, and I would like to move on to different ideas, and I'd like to actually be able to post a reading vlog for the first time in like 2 weeks. So unfortunately that will be the close of the video when I finish this one. I hope you don't mind. We've read a lot in this video. I think besides my Goodreads video, this might be like the longest in terms of like actual books read for this video, which is insane. But yeah, I am going to finish Practice Makes Perfect tonight. I think I'm really enjoying it, and I will catch up with you maybe tomorrow to like round out this video and chat about my feelings, etc, etc. So yeah, I will see you then. Hey guys, so I've now finished off Practice Makes Perfect, and I did really enjoy it. I did decide to stick with a 3.75 for this one. I just didn't like it as much as the first. It was a little bit cringy at times. Overall, like, I did like the romance between them. I just think it didn't hit quite as well as the rule book and When in Rome by the same author is kind of more aligned with the cheat sheet in terms of my personal enjoyment. But that does bring us to the close of this video, which is crazy. I think we've done really well. I know I skipped off 2 books, but I will be reading them soon, and I think we did really well because look, these are all the books we got through in this video. I know these were, oh god, well yeah, they were a separate problem, but like I read all of these, so I'm really happy. I will do a little quick recap. So obviously, like I just mentioned, we did have 2 DNFs, but I'm not too mad about this. They're both pretty chunky books. This one, I mean, the same thing goes for both of them. I just had no interest. This one I got super bored in, and I have heard it gets so sad after I left off, so I'm pretty happy leaving that where it is. And I think this is just like a bit too YA and doesn't really spark my interest, so I'm fine with that. And then Ninth House, like I mentioned, I'll be reading at some point this year, but I'm taking off my currently reading because I'll have to start from the beginning again, to be honest. So then to go through, we read Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams, which I gave a 3.75. Prisoners of Geography by Tim Marshall, which I gave a 3.5. My Dark Vanessa, which was the highlight of the video for me. This was a 5-star. I absolutely love this book. I'm still thinking about it. Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke by Eric LaRocca, which I think I gave a 3.25, 3.5, I'm not sure. Then we have The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins, which was also 3.75. And then Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng, which was like a 4.25. I did really enjoy this one too. So very successful. We've culled my currently reading by what, 9 books, so I'm very much pleased with that. And I'm also very much pleased to have this video done because I've been working on it for a little while and I haven't posted in a while, which is bad. And I'm now fully out of my reading slump and back into the habit of reading. Everything's going good, so I think I'm very excited about content for the rest of the year. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, don't forget to give it a like down below and comment the red-headed girl emoji for My Dark Vanessa because that was my favourite of the video. If you watch one of my other videos, there'll be 2 on the screen now to pick from, as well as they're linked up in the cards from earlier. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.